Rightio, I've had some time to actually get back to this TV. Now, the first thing I did is I actually extended the coaxial cable coming from the tuner to the first IF stage, because you actually couldn't work on the set with it like it was, because the cord was only about that long, and so you had, if you tried to lay the chassis down, you couldn't, because it would just pull on the whole entire arrangement up here. So I extended that and made it nice and long, so hey presto, I can lay the chassis down and actually work on the thing. Now, okay, I did some further fault finding with this, and I think I might have actually found the problem with the lack of no picture. I started measuring around the picture tube, and I particularly concentrated on the grid. Now, the grid is the one that carries the voltage to the tube from the brightness circuit. And according to the schematic, pin 2 is here. Should be around 90 odd volts. Now, of course, that varies with the brightness information, of course. When I measured it on here, it was reading between 35 and 40. So I thought to myself, now that doesn't seem particularly right, and it seems a bit lower than usual. So I had a look on the circuit again and looked here and thought, well, okay, what's there's a 0.1 there, and which actually goes off to this transformer in the vertical circuit, but that's directly off that line. That could be leaky. There's another 0.1 there as well, that could be leaky, and sure enough, both of them were. They're both quite leaky. I checked the 1 meg resistor, that was okay. That runs down here. It's a -170 of the VDR, that voltage checked correctly. So I checked that was fine. Also checked the 1.2 meg on the brightness pot off the wiper, and the 330k, which has got the HT sitting off it, that was okay. 100k to ground, that was all okay. So I'm hoping that when the next power it on, I actually might get a picture by changing that and that. So those two caps were leaky. So I put some replacements in down here. There's one of the 0.1s, and the other one on the other side there. And the 1.2 meg resistor, the original one, actually broke off while I was trying to desolder it, so I just replaced it anyway. But something else I also did too, as the set's probably got other problems, I decided to also replace the boost caps as well, being they were the old original 0.047 wax types, as you can see here. These are the original boost caps here, and the two other caps were these 2.1s here. These ones came out of the brightness circuit. That other one there, that was across the focus pot. So I just put a 0.0047 2kV modern disc ceramic in there, and the two boost caps are there. Now, what I've also done as well with this, I've tried a wire wrap method, where basically you snip the old component out. I've got a whole big roll of this sort of single strand wire, quite thick stuff, and I just wrap it around a end of a thin screwdriver, and then just sit the new component in there, and then just solder it up, and it just saves snipping that off and trying to unravel it and everything, and then melting those wires. And as you know, some of these shapes are a real pain to sometimes get components out when there's several wires on there. Okay, I suppose it's cheating a wee bit, but it's just an easier way to actually replacing components, especially in a situation like this when you've got other ones sort of underneath as well. So yeah, I'll probably do it to most of this chassis. Okay, there are some places where you can't put those little wraps in place. You probably have to physically snip the component out and solder a new one in, which is fine. But places like this here, you know, you can quite easily snip the old component out, make the wire wrap, and then put the new component either end in, solder it up, and away you go. So it's kind of probably speeds up the restoration process a bit as well. And as you can see, there are a lot of paper caps to replace on this. There's there, some down there. There's still more over here which I'll have to replace as well. There's ones there, and these horrible old Ducon 2 microfarad 400 volt caps, they're probably leaky as well, and these resistors are probably all drifted out of tolerance as well. The resistors in this chassis were used also in that, if you don't even recall, that Pi T22, which I think was the second video I did a documentary on, I think. Sorry, I documented on here. Used the same resistors, and they were all way out of whack. Like, just tolerance was so far out it wasn't funny. And I sort of did a quick measure on across a few of these, and yeah, they're pretty much the same. So yeah, it was that Pi there, if some of you may or may not remember that one. A week after I actually completely fixed it, the picture tube decided to die. I mean, it was a really weak emission anyway, but something arced over and must have taken the rest of the cathode out, and now all you get is a really weak picture that's real negative. And if I purposely boost the filament voltage with a separate supply up to about sort of 12-15 volts, I get this really washed out sort of like, yeah, negative picture. So it's virtually unwatchable. But it's definitely the tube. It's definitely something's happened in there. So so until I get another 25-inch CRT, I suppose it's just pretty much a static display for now. So yeah. So what else did I want to mention about this? Yeah. So I guess the next thing to do would be to put the power on and bring it up slowly and monitor the grid voltage and see if I've got any change this time. So yeah, it's fairly I think this is going to be quite a lengthy this is going to be probably quite a lengthy repair, I dare say. But considering I've got 3 of these TVs with all the same chassis, I think we'll figure, well, if I start on the one that's the worst, like electronically wise, and you know, work my way through it, I'll be basically by the 3rd chassis I'll be very well seasoned, I suppose. So I'll be very used to all the problems, and I'll be quite up to the play with all the faults that they have and how everything works and where everything is. So yeah. So not that I don't understand how TV's stupid, but I mean, like, in regards to where everything is on the board, on the chassis and so forth. So oh yeah, one thing I was going to mention too, these capacitors here, these sort of mustardy coloured Phillips caps are super reliable. These caps, in all the years of my servicing, I've only had one go fail. These are brilliant. These things, they never leak. They're just, they're made by Phillips, and they're just the polyester ones, and they're fine. They're just really great caps. I don't know if some of you may have seen these, some of your sets, but yeah, they're very reliable. And I may even use some of these, even though they're used, they're still perfectly okay. I may even use some in the set during my restoration. I've got quite a lot of new old stock parts, like caps and resistance, and that's why I tend to use them in these things, because, you know, I might as well use up that stuff first before I go buy new components. Use up all my new old stock first. Okay, well, I think the next thing to do would be to actually put the power on. And see whether we have any improvement on our no picture situation. So, okay, meter hooked up, Variac plugged in. Make sure the power switch is on. There we go. Okay, let's wind this voltage up and see what happens. Just give it a wee bit. Make sure we've got HT. We're on about 120 volts AC, so okay, what about on pin 2, I suppose? Okay, well, that's actually a bit higher than last time. Even at reduced voltages, that was not even above 80 volts. It was like 30, 40, or I think it was around at 50, and of course it dropped as the HT increased. Alright, give it a wee bit more juice and see what happens. Measure the HT, it's getting a wee bit higher. Hey. Okay, vertical stage has just kicked in. Hey, that's definitely looking promising. See if we've got anything on the screen. Not yet. Might just turn some lights out here. Not quite. Hang on a sec, I'll just go turn my dehumidifier off. Hang on a second, back in a tick. The thing just makes an awful lot of noise. It's good because it keeps the moisture out of all the electronics down here. Not that the place is damp, but it just helps just to keep everything a bit that way inclined. So, okay, still haven't got a pitch yet. I might just give it a bit more. Go and see what happens. I think we may still have a problem actually because we're still getting no picture on there. So I wonder what else is causing this. Hey. Well, look at that. Oh, I'll take those words back. We have a picture. It's not very great, but we've got a picture anyway. We've got an actual image on the screen. The vertical's all up the crap. And far out. Wow. This is definitely a promising start anyway.
That twit. Don't tell me she still moves in his moronic orbit. Ronnie Corbett? Who's he?
Oh, look at that. What do you know? Not even on full mains either, so just for obvious reasons. Cool. I need to get at those controls. And of course the chassis is lying down. What I might do, I might just set the camera there. And I'll just turn it off briefly. I'll just stand the chassis up. I'm not going to do it with it turned on because I'll probably know that I'll probably brush the EHT bloody top cap on something like a massive belt. So, okay. Right, I'll try that again. Okay, I'm assuming this is vertical hold. It's not Ronnie Barker, I think, is it? Oh, well, the thing is actually working. Even though it doesn't, it's the width control. Might just keep that turned down for obvious reasons. Must be the two Ronnies or something, I think. It must be, yeah, at least we've got problems with the vertical there. It must be height. It's height. That must be probably linearity, I dare say, or top linearity. That's obviously hold. What's the next one do? It might be AGC or sub-contrast or something. Well, that one seems to do much as well. It could be sub-brightness something, or sub-contrast. Well, there you go. The thing does actually work. Oh, I'm pretty pleased about that actually, the fact that it's running. At least it proves that the deflection circuits are working, vertical's working, obviously the IF stage is going, audio's working, so yeah. Pretty much a good sign actually. It pretty much sort of, I suppose a big hurdle I suppose is being jumped now. It's sort of, yeah, can probably start working on the rest of the setup there. So now, far out. Well, that's good. That's really good. So obviously those leaky caps were obviously the main reason for why it wasn't giving any picture. So everything looks all good in there. There's no EHT, no arc or anything from the transformer, so that's all good. Ah, great stuff. Okay, well what I'll do, I'll probably now continue starting to replace some of those paper caps and checking the resistors. I'll probably actually work on the getting the width, because the EHT, it's still, I get a feeling the picture's still a wee bit cramped width wise, so I'll just go through and check all the caps and resistors in the flyback stage, and I'll probably get the width right, and once the width is right I'll work on the vertical. I also think too the power supply rails are a bit low as well, because even at 4 volts when I was last checking it, these rails were these rails here were a wee bit lower than what they should be. It could be just due to caps and resistors, probably everything, probably all the old paper caps probably pulling the supply rails down probably. So okay, I might just turn that off actually. I don't want it too long, look like it is. Right, okay, well I will conclude this video here, and yeah, keep an eye out for the next part of the part, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Cheers.